right, sounds good. Thanks, Vishal. And yeah, thanks everybody for being here. For those of you who have not met me yet, either on a phone call or at any of the conferences or events, I occupy a role called channel manager for Jet. And I've been in the Dynamics GP channel for the last 3 years. And really what we have been doing um, collectively as an organization is helping the GP user learn how to take advantage of Jet reports and Jet analytics to effectively have one reporting tool for all of their business needs. Okay, and so that's something that most GP users, they're not experiencing if they don't have a solution like Jet. They're using Management Reporter, Smart List, or if they have a question, especially around the topics we're covering today. So if it's the end of the month or end of the year, and they're wanting the details. They want to know the details behind the numbers, whether it's payroll or AR or even just something as simple as travel expense, right? And so that's a very difficult thing to do when you have to learn 3 or 4 different reporting tools, okay? And so what we're going to be showing today is your one-stop shop for reporting, analytics, and budgeting, and ways to dramatically speed up and improve your month and year-end closing process, as well as simplify putting the answers in the average business person's hands. So when you do close, they actually have access to all of the information that they need in one place. So again, thank you, Optimus, for having us, and Vishal for the intro, and thank you for everybody being here. I know you have a business to run and busy lives, and so hopefully today, if you're already a Jet user, I know there's been a lot of Jet customers down in the Caribbean area who's been moving over, so hopefully you learned something today. And then for those of you exploring it, feel free in the question pane. There's a place to type questions or to chat. I saw someone say hi to Vishal already, but feel free to type that information in there, or your questions for that matter, and I'll do my best to address them as we move through the presentation. For those of you who do not know who Jet is, we are the largest reporting and analytics provider to the entire Microsoft community. 14,000 unique businesses use us all over the world. So we have experience in 94 different countries and over 200,000 users. So what that means for you as a end user is that it's a trusted solution. It's been around for a long time, and there is a very strong roadmap on our product into the future. So if you upgrade GP, or if you upgrade into the cloud, or maybe Excel gets better, you will not be waiting on Jet to catch up with those technology changes. We'll be ready ahead of time. So you never have to worry about that. We specialize in multiple different industries. And so there's no one particular one we're best at because everybody needs reporting and analytics. So Jet Reports, think of this as our live reporting. So if I want to run a financial statement and I want to run it for a specific day or period of time and return the information from my system, this is a live direct connection on any table, any field, any custom view, and any ISV add-on that you have that's connected inside of GP. That's why it reads all of your data, is it connects to everything. So instead of using Management Reporter or FRX for GL reporting and then moving over to SSRS or SQL-based reporting for AR and sales or HR, it's all in one place. And it's really what is driving the need to basically go through how to simplify that month-end process, because the live data is most important during this process, okay? Jet budgets will cover. This is usually a process people dread. Nobody likes to budget for the year, let alone if we're halfway through the year and we find that maybe our budgets are off. Reforecasting is not top of list to really want to do, but jet budgets will make this easier. Will make it simpler, and at the end of the year, when you're ready to forecast for the next year, there's a way to make this much, much easier. Okay, Jet Hub, we will spend a lot of time up here. This is where it is a online-based sharing collaborative publishing platform. It is very easy to install. It is very simple to set up your users within. And what it does is it provides users and owners of reports access to these from any device that connects to the internet. So you can run them, you can download them. If you're traveling, it's very easy to have your reports, your budgets, and your dashboards all in one place. This is the glue that holds everything together. So with that being said, I'm going to actually hop out of the PowerPoint. This is our website, and what I want you to see, so a lot of the examples that I'm going to be showing today are going to be financial in nature, but I do want you to know that there are a lot of reports that you receive with Jet. We have 260 examples on our website of reports that we've done in the past. So if you have questions about, maybe what industry you want to specialize in or what role you occupy within your organization, you can simply click on these boxes and see what reports we have for you. Okay? So just know a lot of what I'll be doing is finance, but again, we are not limited to just that. The first example I want to show is a converted report from Management Reporter. So in 2016, Microsoft asked us to come alongside the Dynamics GP community and help people leave Management Reporter if they wanted to. And so what we've been doing is converting a lot of these reports from Management Reporter into a Jet report. So this particular example was really just a simple copy and paste. We have our accounts running in rows. So each of these rows represents an account or a group of accounts, okay? And then all we did is we formatted it. So we decided, well, we want our actuals compared to budget with the variance. We want to see where we were at last year plus our year to date, okay? And so setting this up is quite easy. Now, where we start running into challenges is when we want to be running this often, or I know that I want this report to be always live, right? And so in the Jet ribbon, for those of you not familiar with it, there's two types of users, okay? So there's a viewer, and that's what we're seeing now. So the viewer, they could come in here, they could run this report, they can drill into the data, right? And so it's nice for the viewer to be able to do that. The designer is the one who created this actual report. And so when I'm wanting to send this report out, you can share it any way you share an Excel file. But as the designer, sometimes I want this packet of reports, but I want it to go to specific entities or specific people. And I don't want to have to send this report out 20 or 30 different times for them to get their information, okay? And so what we've done is we've taken advantage of sheets within Excel. And so now when I run this report as a viewer, I can change what company, what department I'm looking at, I can include as many or as little as I want, as well as what location, okay? And the reason that I'm showing this is you can choose to empower your viewer to have access to this. If you, for this report, want them really just to have the ability to slice and dice information, view it a different way, and that's really effective for them at the end of the month or the end of the year, then you can empower them to do that. You do not have to continue to send out this report. They will always have access to this, and all that they would do is change the date range or change what department they're running it for, and it will grab the live information and pull it back here in Excel. Conversely, the other way to disseminate a report like this to make it much easier is the scheduler here in the web or in the Excel. So when I'm looking at this particular task, right, what I'm doing is I'm simplifying the running and distribution of this. So I could name this whatever I want. So I could say this is a, we'll call this month-end P&L package. So I can choose one report, or I can run multiple. So I could have a file that contains 8 different reports, right? I'll go to the schedule here, and then it's up to me as far as how often I want this report to be ran. So I'm going to show you an example. So in this case, maybe we want it to be ran every month. And then you can even choose actually what months, right? Maybe this is truly just a year-end report, and your year-end is somewhere in here, so you just want it to run maybe a couple of months before you come up to year-end, right? Maybe it is something that you do want to run every month, then you just pick a day. So you say maybe the 24th of every month, right? Or what days of the week would you want them to run? Okay, so you can get very custom with how this is deployed. You can choose what day this schedule begins and what time. Okay, so at this point, I can actually even go into the options menu and choose any of these to be updated. So when they are emailed to my users, maybe it's just emailed to each department head. And I said, okay, Jet, when you run this report, I want you to run it once every Monday before I get into the office, because I don't want to wait for it. I want you to run it for each department, and I want you to send it to only the department heads. Okay? So that is something that is completely possible, and the same is true with the end of the month. You could have a month-end financial package sitting there waiting to be executed for when you're ready to close. So you could just say run now, right? And you can also choose the output. So you could say Jet Workbook, Values Only Workbook, or even a PDF, okay? So this is a very effective way to really disseminate information, and it could be a report like this, like that's just a financial report, and it could also be like a report like this that includes a graph. You know, it doesn't have to just be a financial statement. You can include graphs and charts and have all of the information here within the report and send it in any format that you want. Okay. So the example that I wanted to run through is in this monthly P&L, what we see are some things around salary expense, right? Okay. And so if I go to run this report, and I'll go ahead and put in, we'll put in the company name here and run this. And this can run multiple companies at once as well. So if anyone's curious about that, consolidation is something we do very well. So I have salary expense here, right? So I can actually drill into this information. And what it's going to do is give me an interactive window where I can actually see what is making up this particular expense. So I see salaries and wages, I see what the reference is, And over here on the right, I even see the originating master and the credit and debit amounts. Okay. We can see, who are the employees, right? Okay. And so that's really what it's showing you, is it's showing you this month, this is what we paid each individual. And you could export this back to Excel if you wanted to. Okay. The other way to simplify looking at expenses when you're wanting to close month end is to just have a separate report. So this is the exact same concept, but we've organized it differently. So we have employee payroll transactions, and we've grouped it by our employee type. So we have accounting, we have sales, right? But now I can actually dive into their checks, right? And so just know, not everyone has access to this. Okay, this is just a high-level example. So not everybody is going to be able to come in here and start looking at your HR information. But for the manager of your payroll, and if you're using GP payroll or a different system, that's okay. We can connect to any system. But this is what you can do. You can send or provide this report to your managers. So now instead of having to use even just the drill down, which is nice, they could always have an employee type report, right? The same is true for another difficult and kind of time-consuming task is if I'm wanting to reconcile to the bank, one of the hardest things to do is to find out what has been taking place from a deposit and net change in cash perspective. So this is a report that we've actually taken each one of our cash accounts and broken it out on its own sheet and created a graph, and then basically pulled in our balances for each day and used Excel to show me the net change. So we can see here there's a $60,000 change in cash between the 10th and the 11th. So now as a user or as someone managing the database, I can immediately go into the drill down and find out, okay, why was there a $60,000 dip in cash this day? Okay, so the graph makes it nice because you can see the total amount is rising, right, which is what we want to see. But you can also dig into the details behind why is this information, why are we losing money, right? Okay. The other example is around AR, right? And so if we're managing a business, the chances of there being some expenses around AR are pretty high, right? Because we're going to be extending credit and wanting to make sound business decisions. So again, this is an example of one where you could drill into that AR information, but you could also send them a specific report. So they could, again, always have this, run this information whenever they want, and even add a slicer to these tables. So if they just wanted to see, maybe what salesperson, like who is the account manager and what is their highest account, like what is the account that owes us the most money, okay? And all of our pre-built reports are all modifiable like this. So take advantage of them, right? They're there for you. And so definitely take advantage of those pre-built reports if you decide to move forward with Jet. This is another way of including transactional data within a report. So let's say I always want to include the drill down, but the user I'm sending it to only has access to Excel. They don't have access to GP, nor do they want to. You can actually build the drill down into your reports to show the credits, debits, and total amount all within Excel. This is a roll-up. And so what it does is it allows you to send very, very detailed information around financials to anybody, right? And so it's, again, up to you who you send this to, but this is a way of actually including the drill down within any of your specific reports is just your GL activity, right? So there's that. And so what I do want to move to is the web portal, so we can start taking a look at that. But on any of these reports, the scheduler is here, the drill down is here, the ability to run it live off the data is here. And so that's really what we're doing. We're putting the power to have access to data into the average business person's hands, and then we're giving the CFO and controller the ability to automate everything. Okay. I could also load this report into the web. So if I wanted to load like this sales report here, so I'm here in Excel. If I run this, I could change the date range or what salesperson that I'm running this report for. And so I could also choose to say, well, I'd like to upload this into the web, and I want to provide access to the sales team. So I'll go ahead and log into the web portal now, and we should see our same report here in the web. Try to log in there again. Yep. So we have our salesperson scorecard here, and so what I want to show is, again, when someone logs in, they only see information you're letting them. Okay, they don't see everything. They don't have to go hunting and pecking for their specific report. It's very clear to them and obvious which reports that they have access to. So this one here, if I run it, same exact options I had in Excel. Okay, so you don't lose the flexibility by running this report from the web. Really, that's what it's designed to do, is to give you access from any device that connects to the internet. So every user can have their own view. So if I open up this accounting folder and I click on trial balance, the reason I have access to it is because I've designed it. So what that means is I have the ability to share it, rename it, move it, or delete it. Okay? So if I go under the details tab of this, we can see the same options. So I can choose, well, I'd like to share it with these users. Okay? This is how often the report has been ran. I only have one version of this report, and then we have our automated scheduler here. So I'm going to go to a different example. This trial balance, very similar but a different version. And what I want to show you are two things. One is, when there's a deep run history on a report, there's a copy stored every time it's ran. Okay? What this means for you is, if you have an auditor show up at the end of the year or sometime in the middle of the year and surprise you, you will have copies of these reports stored if you've been using the web portal. You then can provide the auditor access to your reports, and they can just come in here and open them. You don't have to spend so much time going through and teaching them how to run reports that are stored right here. Okay? Conversely, if you have multiple versions of a report, you can now choose which ones your end users have. So instead of having to send out all 12 of these reports because you've made a change and they want a new copy, you could just load it into the Jet Hub and choose who gets to see it and make that your most current version, so it can save a lot of time heading into maybe a new month or a new year where you've changed some of your reporting. This scheduler in the Jet Hub is very powerful. What it does, differently than what we have in Excel, is it allows us to run reports every few minutes or every hour. So what that means is, if I was wanting to always know that the report I'm looking at is live information as I'm closing for the month, we can come in here and say, Jet, I want you to run every one of my financial reports and I want you to run it every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, you would know that the report you're looking at is live and up to date. Okay? And so this is very straightforward for an end user. It is really, it doesn't take a lot of training to understand how to use what I'm showing you with Jet Reports. Okay? So next we're going to be moving into Jet Budgets. And this is an add-on to Jet Reports or Jet Analytics. And what this does is it allows us to simplify the budgeting process, okay? And so when I open up any of these particular examples, what we're going to see is a budget structure because I'm the owner. So there's 3 users in Jet Budgets. You have an owner who sees everything. You also have a contributor and an approver. So there's a layer of approval before the budget gets back to the owner, okay? And so when I open this up, you can see there's a lot of structure here. Any of the light gray items, they're basically work that needs to be done. The bold, those are roll-ups. So we're rolling up into a total if it's bold. And so when we are creating these budgets, there's no limitation to really the structure. So I could have as many different titles or projects or sub-projects that I would like, okay? And so the formatting and then the design of this particular budget is really up to you. And so once we've created our budget and we're starting to assign work items, we can actually track them throughout the entire budgeting process. So this one in particular is a sales item, and we've assigned this to another user. We can see there's an approver and a contributor. We've given them an expected allocated amount. So we've said we expect you to bring in $45,000, and we've also set a deadline. Under entry type and last submission, nothing here has happened because this is just an example, but you would see if the user has submitted information, if they have, what was that submission, it will store a copy of that submitted budget and then also store any attachments that they may have sent with it. Okay? And over on the other side, there's a comment section. So we could add comments to any of these sections, and then it will flow and show who sent it through the budgeting process. And so just to be clear, only the owner sees all of this, okay? If I'm a contributor, I only see this when I log into Jet Budgets, okay? And so as you're going through this process, the advantage of being able to automate this is now we can set automated reminders for people to finish their work. So these are the work items that we were just looking at that need to be accomplished, but maybe we need to kind of have these reminders set up for them so as the end approaches, as you know, the budgeting season comes to an end, we want to make sure that people are getting their responsibilities accomplished. So I'll go back to this example here. And what I want to show is how someone could reforecast really in the middle of the year. And so if I open this up, this is actually a real world example where we have a budget template for each department that's actually in Excel. And then we have pieces of this budget actually in the framework of the software. And then we also have rolled up different categories. So you have salaries, revenue, and those are really the 3 different ways you can use Jet Budgets. You can have a template in Excel. You could have all of your accounts listed out individually or projects listed out individually, or you can group them together. Because we are reading all of your GL information, And so it's up to you on if you want to fill this out in the web or if you want to fill this out in Excel. So so let's say we're halfway through the year and I actually run a report that shows me that information halfway through the year. So let's pull this up. So I see we're halfway through the year and maybe we're off, right? We're off by a lot in our budget. We're seeing actuals to forecast are not lining up. It's really not a good place to be. And so now instead of continuing on the path of our budget, what I get to do because I own Jet Budgets is reforecast very easily. So now I'll go back into Jet Budgets and I'll say, well, this was good, but it's not good anymore, right? We need to reforecast. So now I get to copy this budget. And this is the same thing that you would do at the end of the year. So we'll say reforecast 2019. And then we'll say only for June through the end of the year. And then we can choose to keep everything. This is very important. So all of the work that has been done, so all of the users that you set up, all of the individual attachments, all of the people that you assign to those specific roles, right? You can choose to keep all of them the same, include all of the same attachments just by clicking a button, right? And then it will create a new template without data in it. So you could move that information around if you wanted to, right? Some of the limitations of other reporting tools is you can't do this after you've set it up. Like I couldn't take events and move it up here, right? Well, because there's no data in here, I have the flexibility to do that, okay? And then I have all of the same work items here. They just haven't been started yet. And so now for us, the heavy lifting's done. Every individual in here who has a work item, they all received their emails already. There's drafts out for everything, right? So very easy way to do that. And now, let's say I have the need to basically fill this information out. It's very simple because I already have everything that I need in one place. It's all in the Jet Hub. If I need a report, the report's there. If I need a dashboard, the dashboard's here. There's no need to panic, right? But yeah, the same is true for the next year. You could refresh these GP segments at any time, copy the budget. I wouldn't recommend deleting a whole lot, but you can. So that's really what we do is we create a environment that allows you to automate and streamline all of your processes from accounting and finance, especially during the month-end and year-end close, right? Because you need access to that live data, and that's what Jet Reports does. Jet Analytics is where we start talking about trend analysis. So in a lot of conversations that I've had over the years about budgeting, their main challenge is access to data. Okay? It's I need to know where this information is coming from to accurately make a prediction. Seems like a fair question, right? But in the traditional business world, it's easier to say that than to do it. And the reason it's easier to say that is because everybody knows they want it, but to do it, it requires technical expertise. You need to know the data structure or you need to know a coding language, okay? And so that's what Jet Analytics is going to do. It's going to save you the headache of having to go to that one person to ask for that one report and allow you to have your own. So these are dashboards and ways to slice and dice large sets of data right within the Jet Hub. So here we have performance tiles that are really great because they'll change colors depending on how well or how bad we're doing. This is a great way to spot trends, right? We see every year, for some reason, in the fourth quarter, we dip down. Except for this year, we did something different. Now, as a owner, I don't have to go through 5, 6, 7 years of report history. I see it right here in a dashboard, and I want to know who's responsible for getting us out of this trend. Okay? Same idea here. Now you can see we're positive for the first time. And you can slice and dice this information however you want, right? And that's the power of a dashboard. The studies have shown that when you see a visual representation of your data, that you're 5 times more likely to make a change in your business based on that information because it's more impactful, it makes more sense, and it's also easier to analyze. I don't have to go through the numbers. I see visually that we're doing well, that things are going good over a long period of time or set amount, a set date range. Okay? And so this is our dashboard builder in the web. You can build any kind of dashboard that you would like. And to show you what that looks like, I'll go ahead and open a new one here. And we'll call this, we'll do a global sales one. So we'll say global sales. And in this case, I'm using Jet Analytics to create this dashboard. And then I actually enjoyed the layout to be a little bit bigger. But what you're going to see is something that anybody can learn. Anybody can learn this, okay? Because you have your visuals over here on the left, right? And you have your numbers and your dimensions down here at the bottom, and I'll explain those in a minute. But you just drag a pie chart, if that's the visual you want to see. And then I'll say down here is one of the cubes that comes with Jet Analytics. And what it's done is it's organized everything into plain English. I don't have to know how profit was calculated. I don't have to know if sales is coming from Salesforce or CRM and GP. I just know it's in one place here. Okay? So I grab sales, and it can be from multiple data sources all at the same time. So I'll grab sales and maybe salesperson. Okay? And I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger, and we'll call this, we'll title it Sales by Salesperson. And I actually want maybe the legend at the bottom and those percentage points as well to make it look nice. So there you have it. Right? We've created a visual just like that. I'll grab a column chart in here. And then for those of you who maybe have a warehouse or something that you're wanting to manage with specific items, I'll show profit by item. And you'll see that there's too many numbers here, right? It doesn't make sense. But over here on the left, you can just click this values and say, well, I just want to see the top 5 items. Right? Pretty simple. Actually, this one needs to be a little bit taller. Whoops. So we're going to make it a little bit taller. We have this one match. And then the last one, you can pull in a donut chart. Actually, let's name this. We'll call this top 5 items by profit. And then maybe we'll do over here sales by item category. So we'll grab the grouping of products and our sales. So we'll say sales by item category. Okay. This is a range slicer. This will actually act as a way for you to slice and dice your data and be a visual at the same time. So I'll grab both profit and sales, so 2 numbers, and then 1 dimension, which is date range. Okay, so we have sales and profit over time, and I could slice and dice the data with this slicer here. If it'll let me. There we go. Okay. So really popular, actually, with people. We'll call this sales and profit over time. And then you can add more slicers in here, right? This is just a slicer that I can drag in, and I'm actually going to organize these at the top so it's easier for the executive to see where they are. And then since this is sales, I'm actually going to add, we'll add the salesperson, the quarter, and location. Okay. And then you can color this however you want. There's a lot of different themes here. I personally really like this one, right? Really makes it pop. But at this point, all that I would do is hit save. So save this dashboard. And now when I go back into the web and refresh, we have our sales here as well. And this is now available on any device that connects to the internet. Okay, so I can come into here. I can say just Q1, Q2, and you see how fast this is? We just created a full-on sales dashboard off of a cube in 5 minutes and loaded it into the web. Okay, you can create these dashboards just as easily within Excel, or you could create something like this in Excel where you have all of your financials in one place with visuals, where we have our P&L by division, sales by division, what is our balance sheet as of, what are the KPIs that we're measuring, here's our flow of cash, and here's our assets versus liabilities and inventory. Right? That's the power of Jet Analytics, is when you have a data warehouse in cubes, not only do you have some of the features we showed with the scheduler and automating distribution of those reports and drilling into data, but you can immediately get access to large sets of information instantaneously. And just to show you what this looks like in Excel, building from scratch with a cube is quite simple. We just choose what area of our business we want to investigate, and you can see this is the same sales cube we saw in the web. Sales, profit, all that good stuff. So again, you just click what you want to see. So sales, costs, profit, profit percent. Let me see this by all of our items over time. Right, 6 boxes I've clicked and we see fully functional sales report. And now if I'm budgeting, well, let's go ahead and do a comparison to last year. See how fast that was? And I mean, you've literally clicked 7 boxes. You have a fully functional report over 5 years that's showing how they've done on a month-to-month, year-to-year basis, right? And sometimes this is at times the heart of the issue. The heart of the issue is access to information and waiting on someone to need that information. Okay? So when you have Jet Analytics, that's a thing of the past, right? I could open this up and immediately get taken back to the sales invoices. Okay? So just know that's really the power of analytics: speed, simplicity, graphical interface. We even have graphs that tie into Power BI. We really do like Power BI. But it's really just a way to visualize data, because when we add our cube over here, if I click on, like, let's say this visual here, this is a nice visual. We said I want each item category for a posting group, and I want you to show me the value of it. Okay, I didn't have to go build this from scratch. If I don't have Jet Analytics, I have to tell Power BI exactly where my data is and exactly where that information lives and how to organize it. But Jet Analytics does that for me, right? And with a partner like Optimus, who has taken extensive training on Jet over the years, they're able to support your implementation. That's no easy or simple thing to do. And so just know that they are a representative of us in a lot of ways. They're very outstanding, understanding visuals and analytics and how to create these key performance indicators. And so you're if you choose to move forward, you're definitely in good hands, right? This is a financial example. Here's a sales example. This includes a map. So if you do business globally, this is really, some people just like Power BI for the map, right? Which is funny, but it makes a difference. It can really, really make a difference. And so at a high level, if I show this slide real quick, this is what we're doing. We're doing the heavy lifting. Any data source you have, all in one place, all organized and cleaned with your KPIs and your ability to slice and dice data all in one place, completely secure because it's its own database, and then you can use it in Power BI, you can use it online, or you can use it in Jet in Excel, right? These are all ways to visualize data. This is the hard part, and this is what we're best at, okay? So Jet Analytics is a rapid time to value turnkey installation. I say that word for word here because it's 2-hour install, okay? Nobody else can say that. And it is a data warehouse and 7 pre-built cubes. Jet comes with unlimited users, right? So as many people as you want to access this information, they can. And that's really the power, is we now not only have the ability to automate our budget, to copy information, to move from reporting and into the analytics, but the thing is, it's all in one place. I don't have to go to different tools. Once I've learned the basics on how Jet works, it's the same. It's the same if I'm in Jet Reports, if I'm using Jet Analytics, if I'm using Jet Budgets. It's all the same. So it's very, very nice for an entire organization to just be using one tool under one roof because all of that information transfers, all of that knowledge. Okay. So during the presentation, I actually have not seen any specific questions or notes in the chat. So I was going to pause for a moment here. I know we're coming up on the hour, which is as far as we were going to go today. So about 8 minutes left. So I'm going to hang tight, see if there's any questions that maybe you've been waiting for me to answer throughout the demo patiently, but I do want to provide that opportunity because I know sometimes it's hard to do that as I'm talking. But yeah, again, Vishal mentioned they have a lot of really amazing year-end specials going on. Jet does happen to be in the mix and can be a part of your package or just purchase individually. But they are they're a great partner of Jet's, and so that's why we're here today. So I'm going to hang tight for questions and see if anything comes in.